This is the Vegan Hour. This is episode 23 on Tuesday, November the 13th. And tonight I have the very young and very talented Sam Elliot doing a product placement. Sam Elliot from Familiar Takeaway. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Harry. Pleased to be here.
Now, let's just find out what's happening with our events. But first, let me mention the sponsors of the Vegan Hour. The Vegan Hour is sponsored by Vegan Frothers, cruelty-free clothing, Cess Vegan home delivered pies, and Scindian natural food products. So I've got a link to my sponsors, and you can click on there after the live stream and find out more about them. Okay, let's just have a look what's coming up this week with some events. Tomorrow is a good day. It's a good day to be alive tomorrow because Elixir Bar is doing a Thanksgiving event.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even know it was Thanksgiving.
No, it's such an American thing, but I'm so glad they brought it in.
But yeah,
that's great.
So I'm not actually sure if it's definitely tomorrow is the actual date, but tomorrow they're doing this event, $25 per person at all three Elixir Bar venues from 12 noon to 8 p.m.
Please tell me there's a tofurkey.
Like maybe there is.
Some kind of tofu stuffed thing.
Yeah.
They're doing.
I don't know.
Only Elixir Bar can do that.
I don't know what the menu is. Tomorrow night, if you're in Brisbane or if you want to head up to Brisbane, there's a screening of the movie Kangaroo at Queensland Uni starting at 5:45 p.m. And there's also going to have guest speakers and that as well there. So get along with that one. And one more event before we get tonight's show underway is the following night, Thursday, November the 15th. There is a zero waste vegan market at Palm Beach on the Gold Coast.
I'll be there. Amazing.
Funnily enough, so will I.
Sweet.
Have you got a stall there? Or are you
no, I'm just all about it.
That's great. Starting at 4 p.m. in, I think it's 10th Avenue, Palm Beach. So go along to that one. That's the first zero waste market that Ryan is running. So there you have it. So, okay.
Hey, Effie.
Hello, Effie. So tonight I've invited Sam to come along. Sam is the owner of the Familiar Takeaway at Casuarina, which is in northern New South Wales. And Sam is going to be talking about his vegan journey. He's going to be talking about the cafe itself. And he's also going to be talking about our theme tonight. And what is our theme tonight?
Sustainable business.
Sustainable vegan business.
Vegan business.
Yeah, of course. It's always vegan.
Yeah.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
But sustainable vegan business, how it works and how it benefits the customer, etc. And Christine says, thanks for the plug for the kangaroo screening. Yes, so because Christine's organising that, and yeah, that's my pleasure, Christine. So I want to start off, Sam. Let's get this show on the road here. I want to start off with how you became vegan and why and when. So tell us a little bit about your vegan journey. I don't know anything about it.
For sure. I think the vegan journey starts before you completely cut animal products out of your diet. It starts well before you even stop eating meat. It's a seed that gets planted quite early on, and you start to just have a bit of a realization. That kind of thing happened to me when I was 5.
When you were 5, wow.
Yeah. Wow. I just made the connection that nuggets were chicken and all that weird stuff. It was really kind of scary. And luckily enough, I have parents that were really supportive of that. There weren't really any veggies in the household at that time, but I was catered for. And so, went through life thinking, okay, I haven't eaten animals, that's great. I was still consuming milk and cheese and eggs. And
were you under the impression that that was okay to still be doing that?
Of course, blissfully ignorant. And then, like most people, I think in the last 4 years, there were the movies like Dominions and movies like Cowspiracy and What the Hell.
Yeah.
That stuff really shook me. You start to have this unfolding, like, what have I been doing my whole life?
Yes.
And so I started to try to cut back on a lot of stuff. Milk was born. That's disgusting.
It is disgusting. Did you find it easy to just say, well, I'm not having that anymore?
Yeah, soy milk, almond milk just kind of came into my life. And I was a barista at the time. Had been for a very long time. So I was in front of it a lot of the time, and it slowly started to gross me out. The more I thought about it, was just kind of like, why is everyone drinking breast milk? Aren't they like grown men? Like, what are we doing?
Exactly.
And so eggs kind of dropped off my diet pretty easily as well. and then it came to cheese, and that was hard. That was really, like most people I've been talking to, cheese is really hard. There's actually a thing in it called a casomorphine, part of the morphine family, which is addictive.
Which is addictive. Casomorphine.
I had a number of nights where I would go out drinking and wake up with a Domino's pizza box in my bed. And
sorry, I thought of some nights I've had that were slightly different to that, but
yeah, I've woken up with bigger regrets, but it was I didn't want to roll over and see a half-eaten pizza next to me. So yeah, I was really struggling to cut cheese out of my diet. Hi, Rianne.
Yes, I was going to say hello.
Lovely customer of mine.
One of your lovely customers, Rianne.
Yes.
And also Gabrielle says hello as well. Yes.
Hello.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Rianne a couple of times. And,
so from then, I went to China, and I was doing a lot of entrepreneurial work, trying to do my own stuff, trying to.
China's a tough place.
Yeah, it actually goes into sustainable business, and I was researching a lot of companies that make kitchen equipment and kiosks and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I did a big eastern coastal trip with bullet trains, a lot of fun.
Wow.
But nowhere there could you eat vegan, like literally nowhere, except for the McDonald's getting fries. I lived off potato for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The word in China, su, it means vegetarian.
Yeah.
I tried to pronounce it properly.
Yeah.
No one understood what su meant.
Right. Is Chinese vegetarian? I mean, do they have many dairy products there? Chinese vegetarian might be close to vegan, maybe, or not?
Yeah, it's more so just the severity of the diverse animal products that they use. They don't just use beef or chicken or fish. They use guinea pig and dog and cat and or all that sort of stuff. So they get amongst it. I don't see Chinese people differently for that. I mean, a cow is a dog, is a pig is a chicken. It's the same thing. They're just using different kinds of animals that other cultures find different. So
yeah, that's right. It's a cultural norm to them, isn't it? Yes. Yeah.
So moved back from China with the idea that I was going to absolutely kick dairy out of my life. This was about 2 years ago. And the way I did that was I went raw vegan for a bit under a month. I did that with my mum. She helped support me with that.
And I've met your beautiful mum.
She's an angel.
She is awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
she's my rock.
Yeah.
And so, raw vegan's a really hard diet to follow. If anyone listening has ever tried it, it's let us know how you've gone, because it is really something you've got to focus on and be determined with.
I'm pretty sure we'll have a few people watching tonight that are raw vegan or have been raw vegan for quite a while.
I have a lot of respect for those people too. It is a very healthy lifestyle if you follow it correctly, if you balance your diet properly. But after that month, all I was wanting was a hot meal. So, to tell myself no more cheese was like, whatever. Okay, sure. Yep. Sweet. Just cook me up some lentils. I'm happy. I'm good. And never looked back after that. I always tell people, if they're wanting to go from veggie to vegan, do something extreme like a raw vegan diet.
Yeah. And then that helps reset.
Yeah.
And then when you go back, it's like, it's easy to not have cheese.
Yeah, because veganism is not a diet, it's a lifestyle, and to treat it like a diet where you're giving yourself a time to do it is something that you're kind of setting yourself up to fail with, I think.
And I think, having said that, I mean, that's really well said, really well observed. Having said that, that ties into, I think, with a lot of vegetarians that are actually vegetarian because it's a diet to them, not because it's an ethical stance. And over the years, I've met a lot of vegetarians that can be vegetarian for a long time, sometimes maybe decades, and then they just stop. It's like, how could you do that? And it comes back to like, the whole reason in the first place was not a firm foundation of ethical understanding of animal rights.
Or their diet kind of falls out of place, and they have a medical professional tell them that because they're vegetarian, they're low in iron, they're B12 deficient, and that they need to start eating processed animal products to get them back on the track of well-being. And
do you find it amusing that when they put the word medical and professional in the same sentence, and it's not necessarily a good combination?
Yeah, because those people don't really know what the word nutrition means either. So,
it's just, and just a couple of comments there. Effie says, it was never culture to eat dog or cat in Korea, but as you discovered, it is in China. Yeah, it is in China. And Christine says, good on you for going on that journey to veganism.
Thank you.
Every single person that does that journey,
I honestly, I have a lot more respect for people that make that change later on in life. I've met people who are in their 40s and 50s who have just become a vegan. In my mind, that's a lot harder. That's a lot more respectful, because you've had a whole lifetime of loving foods, conditioning, and by that point, in my mind, you should be completely desensitized to what you're putting in your body. But awakening happens at any point in life. So
it would be a lot easier if you're younger to do it.
For sure.
So
for sure.
definitely. So we'll just read this big comment that Effie said: culture is not an excuse for cruelty.
No,
exactly.
Never.
The Koreans also ate dogs and cats whilst I was there. They believe in torturing the animal before they eat it. Yes, I witnessed this with my own eyes. Not sure if China does the same. Does China torture them as well?
I didn't see any direct cruelty. I think we're all aware of the Yalin Festival.
I was going to say,
the kind of abuse that goes on there.
It was not part of their culture till after the war, when the butchers tried to make money from stories they told people.
Really? Wow.
And we have Lisa is a 1-year vegan here as an oldie.
Well done.
An oldie is anyone over what, 20? Hang on, anyone over 23, that's an oldie. So, so in the room, I'm the oldie.
Only just.
So, okay, so this was, how long ago was this? This was a couple of years ago that you transitioned to fully vegan, or was it more recent?
About 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago, okay. So from there, you found it relatively easy because of the way you've done it, by going raw vegan and so forth.
Of course. That didn't just change my diet, though. That was something that started to change my ethical views as well.
Yes.
I've been in business for about 3.5-4 years, doing different things, but at the time I was running a pizza thing, which was a international franchise. It had a lot of rules on the menus and what we sell and how we sell it. Didn't faze me at the time. I was like, cool, I want to learn business and I want to get these experiences. This was a cool product that I was using. But after I went completely vegan, the education process was there, and I was understanding that what I was selling to people was horrible for them, horrible for the planet, and horrible for the victims involved. So that changed my business outlook as well, which I completely dropped quite a successful business venture to find something that was going to work for me, both in my career and my beliefs.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's really the only way to live if we can do it, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not always possible.
For sure.
But Lisa just replied to the fact that she's an oldie.
46.
So 46, Lisa's gone vegan. That is a lot of respect for you, Lisa, because yes, it is definitely going to be harder when you're older. I think so. That is awesome. Leading the way for us oldies. That's great. So, okay, so you decided you weren't happy being in a business that was contributing to cruelty.
I mean, I was trading at like Splendor and Falls Festival, and at any given time at one of those events, you've got nearly half a ton of dairy products sitting in the fridge.
Wow. Liquid meat, or
churned breast milk that's been aged and perfectly packaged, sitting in a high-end cool room. But once you start to realize where it's come from or what it's doing, no success in the world can kind of make you unthink that. And I think it's been kind of interesting in the line of work that I'm in now. I've met a lot of people who are both young and old, vegans that work in professions which conflict with their beliefs. I've met young kids. I actually hired a girl. She works for me right now. She was working at KFC. She was a very, very passionate vegan. She was actually a big fan of the shop, and she handed her resume and she's like, I've just gotten a job at KFC. And I was like, quit those hours. No, not happening. You're not selling fried chicken to fat people. It's just not on.
But it is hard to find an ethically aligned business. I mean, there's not enough of them around.
No.
For us to all fit into them at the moment.
I think.
But as the world changes.
There's few jobs around, and there's even fewer jobs that are completely cruelty free. So I think you've got to pave your own way in what you want to do and how you want to do it. That might even be a complete change of profession. Hospitality is really bad for that. I was hating being a barista because even as a very passionate vegan, I was still selling. Handling milk and selling cappuccinos to people. Like the amount of people that still drink skim milk is unbelievable. Like 80% of the people that would buy coffee from any given cafe that I work at was all dairy, and religiously too. Like every morning, like they would wake up and suck the teat of a takeaway cup.
Damien from Vegan Isle is watching. Thank you for watching, Damien.
Hey Damien, how you going?
So, did you have any success, just talking about that before we get on to talking about familiar takeaway, did you have any success when you were a barista in sort of educating people away from or towards plant-based milks?
Yeah, for sure. I actually was making a lot of free coffees for people. I would either pay for it out of my own pocket, or I would just kind of do it on the sly.
Yeah.
Depends if the boss is watching, but I hope the boss isn't watching the podcast. But yeah, no, I'd always kind of just throw a little shock factor in, and I like to remove euphemisms from foods. Instead of being a cappuccino, you just kind of say, hey, would you like any sugar with your breast milk today? And they'd kind of stop and they go, no, I don't drink sugar. I was like, you do drink breast milk, my friend. Like this is what I'm trying to get across. Have you tried macadamia milk before? Did
you actually say that?
Always.
You'd have to be in a job where you could get away with saying
only
that.
with regulars that know me.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
Only with regulars that really really feel comfortable. And that's,
otherwise you'd be thrown out in your ear.
Of course, of course. Yeah. It was something I made kind of important to myself.
That's great.
Through work, is that I just really get to know people. All my jobs through retail and hospitality have been like out in the front of a business talking to people, and that's kind of all I've ever done.
But it's great that you're actually, trying to get the message across.
Yeah.
Did you have much success?
No. I mean, not directly. I sold people onto macadamia milk because that stuff is delicious. And I'd move them away from like their...
I don't even know if I've tried it.
It's fantastic. It's like nearly $4 a litre.
Wow. What about the new pea milk? Have you tried the pea milk? That's nice. I like that.
The AO.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, that was $4 a litre. When you said $4, I thought I tried it twice, and both times
I really liked it.
Yes.
I really liked it. Actually, my dad still drinks cow milk only in tea, so he has like a drop of it.
Right.
And so tonight I've actually bought the AO milk, which he's tried and he hates. I've bought macadamia milk, and I've bought my favorite, which is oat milk. My all-time favorite. It is the most sustainably sourceable milk on the face of the planet. It's it's the most renewable source of milk that you can use.
Interesting. I'm going to have to try some oat milk.
Yeah, and it's really nutritious for you too. Super easy to make.
I'm going to look at that.
Yeah.
I'm going to start squeezing some oat, not oak.
Yeah, same way you do almonds.
Yeah,
you just get their tiny little udders and you just pinch them and. Yeah, I've got a rig at home and it's got a whole bunch of juices on them.
Okay, so
it works better when you roll them and then toast them, and then they're good.
Hang on, you can do it like that.
You get the pin out and you just work it into them.
Ah, yes. Sandra says she's tried almond, rice and soy. Yes, I have almond at home.
Rice milk's my favorite for coffee, I think, at this point. I have flat white, so you can't really make much else out of rice milk. Can't really be made into a cappuccino. Right. Something like oat milk, I was doing latte art with. I was like showing people going, hey, try this milk, without telling them it's oat milk or anything. And they're like, whoa, cool, it's a bit of latte art on that one.
Oat milk's great on porridge, Lisa says.
Yeah, it's oats on oats on oats on oats. You have your banana on top and you've diversified it a little bit. So
that's good. Okay, so let's get into finding out a bit about familiar takeaway.
Sure.
I want to find out its history. I mean, it's a very young. Very young. It's
something
7 months old.
My great granddad started. Back in the old town of UK.
The old town of UK. Yeah. But I'm more interested about the creation and the unique way that you sort of brought it into existence.
Yeah.
So let's expand on that.
Sure. So I've done a lot of different business models. I was just like trying to get into this development for a while. They knocked me back and they were wanting something quite particular.
When you say this development, where the shop is located?
Casuarina, which is just south of Kingscliff. If people aren't familiar with it's
actually I've got to ask you about the name
puns.
too. But
no more puns.
But we'll get to the name because I never have asked you how it became familiar.
Yeah.
But Casuarina, if you haven't been a Casuarina, it's definitely worth a drive down there, because you've got a nice little sort of haven, sort of very close to the beach. It's not, you know, it's far enough away from everywhere to not be like a surfer's paradise. You know, it's not super touristy or that sort of
If
thing.
you relate it to Kingscliff, it's kind of like it's like Kingscliff if it was 25 years ago.
Yes.
You know,
back before they ruined Kingscliff. Yeah.
They're putting all the money into the area. There's a lot of wealth in Casuarina, but they haven't quite got the tourism there yet. It's like the new developments that are coming in after this one that we've got are all preparing for it. They've got an RSL going in, and they've got bars, and they've got shopping centres. And
that's where it starts going downhill. Get there.
Good for business, bad for the people that don't want to see growth in a community. They are going to be removing a lot of the King's Forest behind us to make way for about 20,000 residents.
Wow.
So I'm conflicted. I'm thinking good for business because we're here for 7 years. You know, it's a big thing about sustainability is picking an area that's going to be in growth, that's not already grown. You know?
That's not already reached this limit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, less rent to pay and some more stuff to look forward to. But at the same time, to see something I used to consider as a nature reserve getting completely plowed down for housing is not nice to see.
Not at all. No, I'm very sorry to hear that. And you also took. I mean, we're going to get back to how you created the business, but you also did take a big risk, I think, in going into an area that is sort of not connected to a large metropolitan hub sort of thing, you know, and people have to travel a little distance to get to it. But if you haven't been to Familiar or to Casuarina, when you get there is actually it is sort of sustainable because there is a supermarket there and a few other shops and that in the area, isn't there? So it's not like you're just going out of your way to go to one place. So
a lot of stuff to do down there.
A lot of stuff to do, and a beautiful beach here as well. So Rian says, in my house I drink soy. One son drinks rice milk, and the other son drinks oat milk.
Oh, your shopping trip must be expensive.
Just thinking. Okay, so what makes it different? What makes the creation of Familiar different to anywhere else? So
I did want to make it different to everywhere else. I didn't want to take a generic step forward in any way of the business. So I designed the whole thing from scratch. I essentially sourced all the kitchen equipment, all of the whole fit out myself, predominantly overseas.
Okay.
Part of why I went to China.
Yes.
And that's a kind of a subsidiary thing I'm working on more next year to reach out to more people, is a disruptive business fit out, something that's going to be cheaper than any other way you can get it, and more economically favorable to the small business owner.
Why is it called a disruptive?
Well, the whole thing with business for me is to be disruptive. It's to kind of offset the traditional way of fitting a restaurant out. Like most people will make comparisons with fit out companies in the area. If they've got some carpentry skills, they'll do it themselves to an extent. But you're paying through the nose for a building company to make a restaurant. A lot of the quotes I received before stepping into doing something I wanted to do was twice the price of what I've actually paid.
Really?
More than twice the price.
Wow, okay. Yeah. So the way you've done it is economical. Is that because you've done most of the work yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's something that I'm really keen to share to more business owners that want to step into this role, because
Damien says modular fit out.
That's the one, Damien.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. So it's something I was doing before I even knew I was doing Familiar.
Right.
I made business cards. I did a lot of 3D design work, and I made animations to show people. And I went around to a whole bunch of restaurants in Byron Bay and Gold Coast, and people were looking at me as a 21-year-old, going, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who are you?
You want to fit my restaurant out? See you later.
Who are you?
But it's nice because a couple of them have actually come back, and we're talking about next year fitting their restaurants.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
You've proven yourself.
Yeah, Familiar is the proven concept for it.
That's it. Yeah.
And for me, like, I have gotten a couple of mixed reviews on that. People saying, "Well, you're avoiding working with an Australian business to outsource." Well, the big problem that we're facing with our economy at the moment is 80% of small businesses closing in the first 3 years, and that is because they spend too much.
Good point.
Well, there's a couple of factors. They've spent too much. They've put their beliefs and their dreams and their brand in the wrong demographic. And or they're inexperienced in what they're doing.
Yes, so a combination of factors.
Yeah, there are a combination of factors, but you're usually going to tank because you've spent too much, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's, so what I like, talking about the modular fit out of Familiar is that it is very clean, sharp, sort of bright. It hits the spot.
Yeah.
You walk in there and there's nothing staid about it. It's just, it's really good. So
a couple of people have told me it's what it would look like if a man designed a restaurant, because there's no soft touches. So I've actually I've got my friend, I've got this gorgeous Austrian friend, and she's taking me up shopping up North Gold Coast, and she's going to soften the place up with vegan magazines. If anyone has any vegan magazines you want to put in the shop, please come and see me. Like, I get people putting like watch magazines and all these like Ocean Road magazines.
There we go. When you go to Familiar,
drop me a magazine, please. I'll keep them.
And Sam will reimburse you with
food. Free refills.
Free refills. That's it. Done. Yeah. Free refills on the drink. I like it. Very good. Actually, there is a number of vegan magazines out, so that is possible. I could see that the design could be softened a bit, but I like it. I like the sharp, clean, functional lines of it. I
wanted it to look like a franchise, because that's where we do plan on going. Only in a couple of years. I'm not going to jump the gun on that, because again, I think that's a way that a lot of businesses make the mistake of growing too early, too hard, and too fast. So I do think that we need to spend time in finding our brand and finding our best location for that. But what this modular fit out does is that if I wanted to completely leave Casuarina, I love it. But if I wanted to completely leave Casuarina, every single aspect of that business is on wheels.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
it doesn't look like it is.
No, so it actually is all designed to fit on one car trailer, the whole business.
Wow!
So I could pull it out and either turn it into a mobile kitchen and go to festivals with it, or I could find a place in Burley, or I could Brisbane. You can so the ideas of growing a business and lowering the failure rate are kind of something that I've been really focusing on before even stepping into Familiar.
Wow. Harry says hello Harry.
Hello,
from
Harry,
one Harry to another.
Yeah.
And Rian says it just needs an outdoor heater in winter. Well,
I bought two of those.
What happened to them?
So actually it started to warm up, and it was like just towards the end of winter, and I was like, all right, Dad, let's pick these heaters up, let's take them back to Yukai because we don't need them anymore. And then we hit this cold snap again. And everyone's like, God, it's so cold, where are those heaters? And I was like, yeah, true.
Okay, so this modular fit out is interesting because it doesn't look like it's easy to pack up. When I've gone in there, for anyone that's gone into Familiar, next time I go in there, I'm actually going to check it out more to see this.
I'll take you around the back
and see how. Okay, right, that's interesting. I've had a few offers like that in the past, but not the one you're going. But anyway,
so strictly business.
Strictly business. Okay, so it's got the. Okay, so you kept your cost down.
Yeah.
Right. It's easy to create it because it is modular. So that means the infrastructure doesn't require a lot of permanent sort of installations to be built and so forth.
Yeah.
What about when you come to things like plumbing and electricity and stuff like that? I mean,
so that's the kind of overheads that you're looking at regardless. Stuff like a range hood. I went into a completely bare shell, so there wasn't even plaster on the walls. We had to plaster the walls, paint the walls. I actually begged the development to do the plastering for me, so they did that. And I didn't pay for it.
That's good. That's a good price.
And so then my mum and I and my dad painted all the walls and the roof. I painted the roof green. I did 3 coats of this green color, and something didn't sit right there. So I'm looking at it.
Was it like the color of the shirt?
No, it was bright. And so I'm looking at it going, gave it a couple of days, and I looked at it and I went, I'm going to have to do 3 more coats. And we're talking like 2 ladders and a big long beam and just like this, arms up for 3 days, doing 3 different coats.
That's how you build up your muscles.
So I did 6 coats of green on the roof. Bloody hell, I learned some things.
I think we need to start talking about the food.
Yeah.
But Rian has a comment there. Don't pack up and leave Casuarina. Well, you have no intention to because you actually mentioned earlier, you said something about a 7-year plan, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
we're in there for 5+2.
Excellent.
And
excellent.
What I'm really what I was really excited about was I actually worked around Casuarina as a barista for about 3 years. I love the area. Like that, I got to know all the locals. My business mentors are there. And
one of whom I know.
Yes, yeah.
We won't mention names.
I actually bumped into him the other night. He came and got burgers, and I was like, "Do you know Harry Bolman?" And he's like,
"No idea."
He's like, "Yeah, what's that old cook doing?" I was like, "Oh no, same thing you are." But yeah, no, I love Casuarina, and that's kind of why I've gone for the new development spot, is because I was watching it get built and growing over 8 months of concrete pouring over it. I was saying this is going to be a hot spot. It's somewhere that's not going to be exploding straight away. But with the vegan business, what I kind of came to was that as a niche, I guess we're still a niche. People are prepared to drive. So being 20 minutes out of the Gold Coast isn't a big deal.
I think I'm going to qualify that. I think people are prepared to drive when the food is good. Cool. And that's why they will drive.
Cool.
Yeah. Because I mean, a lot of us aren't going to drive if the food's mediocre.
For sure.
But I think, and in your case, that is definitely the case. I mean, I held one of my vegan life meetups there. Was it last month? I think it was. It wasn't that long ago, was it?
I reckon it was nearly 2 months ago.
Time flies when you're having vegan food.
Vegan life meetup too. In January. Let's do it.
Yes, soon. And we had. Was it 16 people or something?
Yeah.
We had. I mean, none of them, or hardly any of them, were local. We had people driving down from Brisbane.
I saw a lot of North Gold Coasters there. Yeah. Like, this is my first time, and I was like, yeah, great.
It was like fantastic because all they have to do is get on the M1 and come straight down the M1. It's actually relatively quick when you get on the M1.
Because you're about 2 minutes off the highway.
So it's relatively. Yes, like Lisa from Labrador. That's right.
Yeah, yes. You're amazing, Lisa. Like, I want to take a second, if I've got customers watching, just to be so grateful for the kind of effort that they go to. Like I have stories of some customers that have just gone like so far out of their way to come in, and they're like, 10 minutes after we've closed, and we'll turn the fryer on and the hot plate on for them again. And it just means so much to me that it means so much to them. And about the food and stuff. What I came to the realization with is I was doing a lot of product testing. I've been eating meat alternatives since God knows when. But they were horrible. They're still like, Veggie Delight's really kind of up their game a bit, but I was looking at them, and I was looking at their bacon and their patties, and I was looking at a number of different groups, as well as making my own with seitan and TVP, and I came to the realization that if I want something to work and I want it to get a following and I want people to actually drive to see it, it's got to be worthwhile. So I decided price and quality has to be, I have to make the price as low as I can and the quality as high as I can.
Excellent.
And that meant outsourcing to 5 different continents.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when you first started telling me about some of this in some of our initial discussions, and I'm thinking, that's amazing. You've done an amazing amount of research to locate products from all around the globe.
Yeah, a lot of phone calls and emails with no one getting back to me, and I'd have to
welcome to business.
I'd have to find out where they live, and no, not really. Knock on their door in the UK, being like, sell me some cheese, dude. Come on. I was able to find some really interesting people which, sell vegan products really on the down low in Australia, like to Asian supermarkets and stuff. Yes. Asia is an amazing place. I think, for all that's going on there, they are really in the future with what they do. They've been selling vegan meat alternatives to Buddhists for like 25 years. So they, as far as their vegan bacon compared to Veggie Delights vegan bacon, it's like throw the cardboard in the bin and try something real. Like
I'll second that.
Yeah,
I don't want to poo-poo Veggie Delights, but I've got to admit, you know, there's different levels of.
I think they've gotten comfortable with their recipe, and I think there should always be room for improvement. After they bought it off Sanitarium, I think they just kind of kept the same ingredients and same products.
And that's a history that goes back decades.
Yeah,
you know, so,
yeah, exactly. That's the stuff I grew up with. It was the Sanitarium products.
Yep. Well, that was the only thing, you know, way before you were even born.
Yeah.
For me as a vegan, that was the only thing. Sanitarium products was, I think, the only thing I could think of that was a meat alternative. You know, there was the nut meat and the nuttaline and the sausages and all that in the cans and. Yeah, the bad old days.
Yeah, and that's
who remembers them?
That's where the stereotypes have stuck with too. You know, when everybody talks about vegan products and the bacon, they go, "That's disgusting, man!" Like, that's because they're thinking about vegan products 5-10 years ago. And then the amazing thing is when people bring their non-vegan friends to Familiar, all they want to do is talk to me about where I get it from and what is it and like.
Yeah, like for instance, the cheese.
Yeah.
Right. It was a couple of months ago there, 3 months ago maybe, had the mac and cheese. And it was the best mac. He calls it mac and cheese.
Yeah.
I mean, normally it's called mac and cheese, but it was the best mac and cheese. It was actually, sorry Greenhouse, but it was actually better than the ones that I had from Greenhouse, my favourite fully vegan restaurant.
It's not gluten-free though. It's not gluten-free. So
okay, well there's a point. And I just had, I had to know, I was like, wow, you know, and then you told me the cheese, correct me if I'm wrong, it comes from Scotland, is it?
Bute Island in Scotland, yeah.
Bute Island in Scotland, yeah. So he sources the cheese from Bute Island in Scotland. That's attention to detail.
And they like another couple of brands have been going for 25 years. So Bute Island Foods have been going since 1993.
That's amazing.
And you know, it's like Ogren, the brand Ogren. They've been going for decades, and they've been completely gluten-free and vegan that whole time.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it, when you realise that there were some of these companies around.
I have a lot of respect for them because they've been doing it on the down low. They haven't been putting the big vegan sign, plant-based, and no cruelty. They're just making stuff like egg replacement, and they're making it out of chickpea flour and just being like, it's an egg replacement, you know, do you like it?
It's similar to Ogren, as you were saying, because Ogren sort of doesn't really push it that loudly either.
No, and that's what we do at Familiar too. Is it something I wanted to make sure we weren't like in your face vegan. Yeah. We were just like, hey, we just don't use animal products, and guess what? It's what you're used to eating.
When you walk in, is there any I can't remember. Are there any signs saying? I haven't seen a sign saying vegan.
Yeah, no. Is there anything saying plant-based? Yep, on the front logo.
Okay.
So our two mottos are sustainable, plant-based.
Right.
So our two core values is to be sustainable with our packaging and with our general economics of the business, and to be completely plant-based always, forever, even if we close our doors. We will not be one of those businesses which backflip and start selling animal products. My God, how does that happen?
Exactly. Exactly. See, I love it when you get disappointed by things like that, because I have my rants about stuff like that where I'm just like face palm. It's like, how do you know, how does somebody or some business go backwards so badly? There's an example I can think of that actually happened. I mean, I won't name names, but they actually did do that, and then they closed doors not too long afterwards, and they're sort of in your neck of the woods too.
Yeah, so, because the vegan community is powerful, they're supportive, and they're also disruptive. They will fight. If they don't like something, they will let everybody know about it.
Now, there's a couple of things before we get on to talking about your actual food. A couple of practical things.
Hey, Sammy! I used to work with Sam down at Byron.
Fantastic. Two Sams.
Yeah, two Sams. We used to close the shop together.
Practical opening hours. So you're open 7 days a week, is that right?
Yes, we have to be. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And what are your opening hours? Are they the same every day?
Yep. 11 a.m. till 8 p.m.
So 11 till 8 p.m.
Subject to change, maybe coming into January. But we're happy with it. 11 till 8 at the moment. It's
okay. So that's easy.
Yeah.
You've got parking right at the door. There's plenty of parking. The trick is to actually go off the main street into the parking area just behind it, and there's plenty of parking there, so that's great.
We've got a little A-frame as you're coming off the highway into Casuarina.
Yes, I've noticed
that. It says, turn left,
Yeah.
then left once more, then left again. You'll literally be at
Do you know how hard it is to read that part of it when you're doing 60k?
You should be doing, so you should be doing like 50 going into those.
It's a 60k zone. So why is it called Familiar?
So I actually had a number of names. I was going to call it quite cringy. Like I think a lot of vegan businesses have a bit of a airy name to them. But I was writing it at like 1 in the morning, writing the business plan, what we want to be, how we want to do things, and I kept using the word familiar. We want to be like every takeaway you've ever been to. We want to be, we want our food to be familiar to what you're used to.
Right.
And I stopped. I had a girl in my bed actually at the time, and
now the story's getting better.
And I was like, oh my god. And she's like, what? And I was like, oh my god. And I highlighted it, and I zoomed it, and I like looked at familiar, and I changed a couple colors, and then I was like, that's it. It's familiar, and it just rung with me.
I've got the name of the cafe. I don't know the name of the girl in my bed, but I've got the name of the cafe.
If you got the name of the cafe, it's fine. You're sorted.
You're sorted. That's right.
So yeah, and then I just kept thinking of slogans like "Let's get familiar." That's going to be put on our shirt. January.
That actually, rather than a slogan, that sounds like a pickup line. If we're going to keep going along the theme that we're going, let's get familiar.
The sexual innuendos are out the door.
Actually, I love some of your posts. They're brilliant.
Yeah.
Some of you've got it. Guys, you've got to look on his Facebook, on Sam's Facebook page.
Sorry if I'm too much.
They're creative. They're humorous. Some of them are, left field sort of thing. They're out there. They're really good. What was one of your most recent ones that you can think of that might?
Actually, I couldn't really rattle one off the top of my head.
I saw one today, but I can't remember what it said. But it was wacky. It was,
there was one last week that said your crush might not text you back, but you can call us up for loaded fries 7 days a week.
Yeah, that's right. It's that sort of theme. Yeah, I like that.
And then when Coles did that massive backflip on the plastic bag,
yes.
We're right next to a Coles, right? I shop there all the time.
Across the road from it.
Right there, and I was just like, oh, damn Coles. So I got my little A-frame out and I put it right in front of Coles, and I said, fun fact, Coles executives break down 1,000 years faster than plastic bags do. The employees were like,
that's good.
They saw that and they were just like, okay, I'll pay that. That's not bad.
Now, Rian made a comment about your opening hours. Are they New South Wales time?
New South Wales time, yeah.
So 11 to 8 New South Wales is 10 to 7 Queensland time.
Yeah, and you know what? The second daylight savings changed. Our trading peak times changed like dramatically. We usually have a half hour with no one, between 7:30 and 8.
Yeah.
Now it's everybody comes at 8 o'clock when we close the door. Like we're sweeping, we're packing up, and everyone just floods in. And I'm like, hey, Gold Coasters, how you doing?
Hello to Brooke. Brooke is watching. Brooke is one of my very good friends. And Sarah from Sets Vegan is watching and says, love your enthusiation.
Thank you. Lauren's my brother's girlfriend. Rosie is my
little
grommet sister. Rosie, when are you going to quit eating cheese? Hey, Rosie, when are you going to quit eating cheese? Come on.
You're having the pressure put on you.
No, she's like how I was a year and a half ago. She'd get drunk and she doesn't steer away from a pizza. I tell her get a falafel kebab when she's in the Fortitude Valley.
Get a pizza without cheese.
Yeah,
get a pizza. If you have to get a pizza from a non-vegan place, get one with vegan cheese. You can do it now. I mean, for decades, I would get the occasional pizza without cheese. But
I've told all my family members I will literally give them cheese for free out of the window at Familiar just so they eat it.
That's great. I just want to get back with Sarah from Sets Vegan Pies. Sarah, if you're in the neighbourhood down Casuarina anytime, drop in, say hello to Sam, and show him how wonderful your pies are, because he might be interested in maybe having some.
Yeah, I would love to talk to her about how we can sell those.
We're doing business deals on the vegan.
Okay.
I want to talk a bit. We've only got 15 minutes left, and in that time, I want to find out what are your popular dishes there, and talk a little bit about your food and sustainable business, especially in relation to Familiar, because you've done some amazing achievements with the amount of water you've saved, the amount of plastic you've saved, and the amount of animals you've saved. So let's talk about what's a really popular item there. Is it the burgers? The burgers?
Yeah, the burgers are what people come for. I love the nachos. Try them.
I haven't had your nachos.
They're gluten free.
Oh, I haven't had your nachos.
The deluxe nachos are gluten free. Yeah, to be honest, I've been waiting for the shipment of vegan cheese. Sam, I've got to see her in Brisbane. She lives in Brizzy.
Okay, vegan cheese is heading your way.
I will when you have time away from work.
Rosie, I mean. So.
Yeah. So. Right. We've sold twice as many 32 Classics than anything else.
32 Classic is 32 the popular
Classic
burger?
I think it's just because people stare at the top one on the menu. They go, oh, I'll get that.
That's why. And that was the first item of food I had there. The 32 Classic.
There you go.
Because it was at the top.
But props to the people that buy the food, because the Vegan Extremist is number 2 now. It took over the falafel cheeseburger not too long ago. The Vegan Extremist is like... Well, it's kind of an ode to the vegans because we put so much on it and it shouldn't be as cheap as it is. But I just want, some people don't want the meat alternatives and stuff.
Has it got the mock bacon?
No. It's a homemade veggie patty we make out of like 6 different vegetables. It's got beetroot, tomato, lettuce, carrot, onion, and vegan mayo. And so
nice.
Yeah.
Damn, I haven't had dinner.
Even then, we have people who are too extreme for the vegan extremists who just don't want a bun on it. They just want the patty on the salad on the tray, and it's like,
okay,
sweet.
What about gluten-free? Do you do gluten-free?
Yeah, gluten-free buns out the Wazoo. We've got our gluten-free buns from Wild and Free. In my knowledge, it's the only gluten-free vegan buns I could find.
Yes, because some gluten-free have egg in them, for instance. Yeah. So you've got a huge. How many burgers have you got? You got a huge. No, you got like
13.
I was going to say 16. I wasn't far off.
13. We're growing on them. We're actually. I can't talk about the next one coming out, but it's going to be the coolest, best burger. I'm working
because it's actually called the Bolman Special.
We haven't talked about that one yet.
I wasn't meant to say that.
We haven't talked about that one yet, no.
No, that's not, we haven't talked about that one.
The hint there is that it's going to be a portobello mushroom burger, but I'm working with someone really cool with it, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Excellent. So it's not just burgers, you've got a lot of different types of food then, that's what I like, because did you sort of start off initially with the idea of it just being like a burger bar sort of thing?
No. Okay. I did the KISS rule. My business teacher at high school told me keep it simple, stupid. So that's where that came from. I just started with 10 burgers, some hot dogs, loaded fries, that kind of thing. Loaded fries.
Love your loaded fries. The melted vegan cheese on it. Wow. It's good.
Yeah. So then, slowly as we got our hands around the idea of the business and the operations behind it, the staff got the hang of it, we started to incorporate more stuff and to do more stuff. And so, as that came on, we expanded. We went from 9 burgers to 13. We incorporated the seafood basket.
Yes.
Which has been a massive favorite.
We've
got vegan prawns and calamari.
Yeah. But the vegan prawns are too realistic.
Yeah, and you know what? I think my favorite burger is not as far as the one I like to eat the most or anything, but the one as far as the shock factor is the Ned Kelly.
Oh.
Yeah, like you go to any Australian takeaway and you see the Ned Kelly with the beef, the cheese, the bacon, the egg, the fried egg on it, just so greasy. Is
a Ned Kelly burger a burger that you get in a lot of takeaways, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. In Sweet Heads, they've even got this thing called the Ned Kelly takeaway. Like.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I've learned something new.
But, so we've got the Ned Kelly, and that's just kind of been something that, like, the burly meat eaters have come in like, well, I don't want to be here. Oh, Ned Kelly? Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, for sure. So sucker in them that way.
That's good. I want to get to a comment there from Gay that says, an environmental scientist I heard on a podcast, I think it was Rich Roll the other day, said that we have about 8 years left before our planet is the point of no return because of all the plastic, mining, clear cutting for livestock and palm oil, which also burns primates and other animals alive, computers, pesticides, batteries, cars, and worst of all, the torture and murder of animals and their runoff in big agriculture. Liberate the animals and Earth. Can I just add to that? That is spot on. And they're saying 12 years was what the UN, the most recent report from the UN said. In other words, 2030 is the critical point that we have to have made a massive change by then.
Yeah, I don't want to be the downer on it. I've talked to a number of people that run Sea Shepherd, that are involved with Greenpeace. So I like to get their kind of perspective on where we're at with that. They're not very hopeful.
No.
My understanding on this now is that we're not here for us. We're here for our children's children.
Yeah.
What the work that we're trying to do is going to help, but we're still past the point. I think, in my opinion, we should have been making rallies and doing this kind of movement back in the 60s.
Yeah.
This started to come about with the Industrial Revolution, the way we started to mechanize the animal cultural industry and started to make it really, really fast and really affordable.
Yes.
Then McDonald's came about.
Oh God.
So, you know, we were too caught up in war at that time, you know, with everything going on there, that the whole push with veganism was something that the hippies were kind of too interested in acid and Woodstock, all that kind of stuff.
So it wasn't sort of taken seriously, really.
No.
By mainstream.
Yeah, so I think we're making good headway now, but we are going to be feeling the effects of this in 50 years' time. When I'm Harry's age, I won't have the same quality of life that I grew up in. You know, I won't be able to go scuba diving near the Great Barrier Reef and see that kind of stuff. I won't be able to go to a lot of rainforests that are currently around and enjoy that same kind of nature. But I hope that my kids can. Because that's how nature works as it regrows.
If anyone's interested in knowing how shocking the statistics are, I've done 1 or 2 live streams from home about it. But if you go to my page after this, after the Vegan Hour tonight, you can go to my notes section on my Facebook page, and you will see I've done several statistics of just how bad it is, and it is really, as you say, it's really depressing.
Yeah, don't get too caught up on it. Like, you know, feel good with every movement.
Yeah, but it is super serious. I mean, we do need to sort of be caught up on it, don't we? We have to be aware that you know, what they're saying is we have to make the change now. We can't wait any longer, you know, and it's just, so it is a very serious topic, and one we could go on, you know, a lot.
Forever. But, you know, something that we like to promote at Familiar is that, you know, rather than, I think that a lot of the main focus on with veganism is, you know, morality, health, and the environment. And so with morality, it's a subjective thing. A lot of people have their own beliefs on what's moral and what's not. And health is the same thing. People think that this is healthy. The other person says this is healthy for me. With the environment, it's really black and white. It's really like, this is what's going on. This is what we're faced with. This is how we can fix it. So what we focus on at Familiar is like your water consumption and your waste and all that kind of stuff. We've saved 16 million litres of water in 6 months from replacing beef. And that's just beef.
That's phenomenal, isn't it? 16 million, over 16 million.
Yeah,
actually,
it's nearly 16.5 million now. It grows really quickly.
Wow.
And it's like there's a lot of vegan businesses out there doing that. We're literally trying to focus on that statistic alone, but there's a lot behind what a plant-based restaurant can do. And I guess the point is, don't focus on how bad things are and how bad other restaurants are doing it. Try and focus on the restaurants that are trying to do it right, and make your impact in your own way, contribute in your own way. And I think if everyone started to have that kind of outlook, then we would be progressing a lot faster. Unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot of vegans out there who are fighting a war more than they are trying to make a change. And that's something I spoke about at the Vegan Day a couple of weeks back, is that there's a lot of activism, which is a lot of effort going into nowhere, where people are fighting with people online, people are blaming people for stuff, and you need to seriously take a look at how you're making an impact with that, because if you're not taking an approach with compassion, then you're taking a bad step towards a good movement, I think.
Wow, well said. Well said. A bad step towards a good movement.
Yeah.
Well said. That is, I'm turning that into a meme. That's brilliant. So you've touched on there that you mentioned that you were talking at World Vegan Day. That was the second talk that you've done, public talk you've done. So tell us a little bit about that and what your experience was and the feedback from people listening to your talk.
Well, the reason why I wanted to do it is because for me, like, business is not really just a 9-to-5 job. It's not really something that I go home and switch off from. It's something I'm trying to really, you know, help a movement and create change with, and to be able to get out and talk to people is something that this position I'm in has helped me with a lot. So, you know, I asked if I could go out to this paleo event a couple months back and speak to them about the benefits of a plant-based diet as well as the carcinogenic properties of processed meat. That was very mixed.
That was quite brave of you, actually.
Yeah,
to do that.
Yep. The owner doesn't speak to me anymore, but I got embraced by some amazing people there that were just so supportive. And yeah, that kind of helped get into the World Vegan Day and speaking there, where it was more so like everybody's on the same page there.
Yes.
Instead of talking about environmental statistics and stuff, we're like, hey, like, let's work together and let's be more compassionate about what we're doing.
I noticed your theme was a theme of love.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. It's always got to be that way. So yeah, it was amazing to do that, and I plan to do it a lot more in the future.
Oh, I hope you do, because it was well received.
Yeah.
The audience was cheering along at the end.
The mic failed on me twice.
You did an amazing job of handling a difficult situation.
Yeah.
So and I believe you had some really good feedback like afterwards from people coming up and that were really impressed with
a
your
lot
message.
of hugs and a lot of hey, this is my point of view.
Yeah.
I had a lady randomly try and talk to me about dog food. It just shook me. It just really, like, it's telling me that she feeds her dogs vegan dog food, but she incorporates tuna, but it's vegan, but she's been vegan and she hates meat eaters and she doesn't agree with the compassionate side. I just all right, lady. Okay.
Let me get to a comment there from Gay that says, humans have a prefrontal cortex unlike most mammals, which gives us the ability to have higher reasoning abilities. And what have the non-vegans used it for since they existed? To dominate, exploit, enslave, destroy, develop those that are voiceless and cannot protect themselves, namely the animals, earth, children, minorities, and women. Not only is that well said, Gay, but actually I posted something very similar to that a couple of years ago, that, you know, what have non-vegans done? What have we done? We've dominated, exploited, and enslaved, destroyed. It's a terrible legacy.
I think it's a good point that she's made, but let's also make the point that there's leaders and there's followers. There's people that have set these standards, and they're not good standards. I'm saying they've set these things out. They've made it incredibly accessible, and the people that are going for, you know, ease of life and the way they've always known it. It's been a continual thing that's worked on with generations, where the people that are consuming animal products and contributing to that kind of thing, they're not necessarily bad people. They're not using their frontal cortex to destroy the world. They're just going along with the people who are. So, you know, that's where.
Do you find that in that sense, humans tend to be lazy? They tend to just follow the crowd a lot of the time?
Freedom of thought is something that we need to utilize more, because we've got it, we just don't use it.
Definitely. So
it's been an hour.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I feel like we've only just touched on some of the things.
Yeah.
We were talking about the food, and we didn't even get into some of the other dishes that you did, apart from the burgers and the hot dogs and the seafood basket, and then you've got the mac and cheese, and you've got the arancini balls.
The ice creams now, which you've tried.
Of course. Yeah. Here's another thing. If you haven't been, when did that was a couple of weeks ago you brought them in, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so if you haven't been down to Familiar in the last couple of weeks, I went down, when did I go down? Last week, I think it was, so that I could have the ice cream, the smoothie bowl, the milkshake. I tried all of them, I think it was. Yeah. It was like, I've got to have all of them. And another thing that's really, really great, I love your brownies. The brownies are fantastic.
Yeah, that's Wildflower Patisserie. Good friend of mine I've worked with for a while now. He opened the same time I did, and he wholesales out to people. So anybody that's wanting an amazing, like, vegan birthday cake or wedding cake, they've done wedding cakes already. Or if you've got a vegan restaurant and you're looking to really vamp up the desserts, that's like a key feature for us, is that people, you know, they go and get the food and then they're always hanging around for the desserts as well. So Wildflower Patisserie, check them out on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay, big shout out to them. Where are they based? Are they
Ballina?
Yeah, okay.
They deliver up to the Gold Coast as well once a week. So
okay, cool. So as we look at the time nearly winding up, what's a message that you'd like to sort of send out tonight's show with? You know?
Honestly, continue doing what everybody's doing. Everybody that's watching this here is contributing in their own way, I think. And the support that we've received over the last 6 months is incredible. I hope to see that continue, And anybody that's looking to start business, come and see me. In any way, I'm keen to help, and I'm always keen to share experiences with people. So if you've got ideas or anything, come in. You don't even have to buy anything. Just come and say hi to me, and
because you're always approachable,
and we'll get familiar.
Yeah. I love it. That's a good takeaway. That's good. So if you're in the area, or even if you want to go for a nice drive down to a beautiful area, I highly recommend going down to Familiar anytime, 7 days a week. You can go, so you don't have to worry about going there on the day that they're closed. And New South Wales time was 11 till 8. 11 till 8. It has been an absolute pleasure
you too.
to have you here on the show tonight and to talk about the things that we've talked about. It's been fantastic. And I think we're going to have to get you back again next year, because I'm sure there'll be much more coming along.
There is. There's lots much more planned.
Yeah, so, that is awesome.
Stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. I've got the tag for Familiar takeaway in the title of tonight's live stream, so you'll be able to go to their Facebook page quite easily. Amazing. And so this, as we wind up, I'm going to mention what's happening next in 2 weeks' time, in a fortnight's time, on episode 24, which is Tuesday, November the 27th. I've got the Animal Justice Party's, another of the Animal Justice Party Senate candidates. There's 3 of them, and so this is the third one out of the 3-person all-female team, and this is Belinda Hardy, so she'll be joining me in 2 weeks' time. And just before we go, let's read a couple of comments that have come in here at the last minute. Gay says, "Thank you all, you are heroes for the animals and the earth. So because I can only sleep for part of the night, thanks menopause, I'm tired but get to catch you all from North Carolina." That was a hell of a comment. And all the way from North Carolina. And Christine says, "Thanks for another fabulous vegan hour." Thanks for watching, Christine.
Brilliant.
And Damien says, "Thanks, thank you." Okay, we're getting all the thanks. So thank you everyone for watching and commenting. It's been a great show. So live vegan and save lives, and it's the best you can do. And I'll see you guys soon. Good night everyone. Have a great night.